Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to my deep guide, and in today's video we're going to be checking out the NocFree Lite, which is a split keyboard. Quite interesting. This product has been sent to me by NocFree as a review sample device, but NocFree has nothing to say about the review itself, nor do they get to see the video before you guys do. That ensures that my opinions are my own and that I can give you as objective and as complete of an overview of a product as I can, which is especially important if a product is something that you can't really go to the store and try out, and when the price is something that you actually have to plan for. Before we begin, I want to invite you to go to mydeepguide.com/shop and check out the MDO 2024, 2025, 2026, which is a hyperlinked PDF file that is your ultimate go-to organizer for all of your personal or professional organizing needs, be it on a yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily basis. MDO has got you covered. You can also check out the MMP, which is My Deep Guide Meeting Planner, also a hyperlinked PDF file that helps you centralize, simplify, and organize all of your meeting planning needs. If any of those actually sound interesting to you, check out the linked playlists in the description below, where you can find more information, see whether these products are for you or not. But either way, purchasing of these products directly helps support the independence of My Deep Guide. And now, without further ado, let's check this one out. The keyboard comes in this kind of cool box that you just simply slide both halves open. And it's already like an indication of the keyboard itself, what it is, and then you open up. Here's the keyboard, but it splits in half, which is kind of cool. So you get the keyboard, you get the user manual, quick start manual, you get the USB cables, and in this case I had a couple of extra keys. The dongles you don't get, the dongles you get if you pay for them, so each one is a special or additional cost. And this is a USB-C to USB-A converter, which I believe is included as a standard in the package. And you get all the necessary cables, which are of really good quality, and this one is to connect the keyboard to the computer, so USB-C to USB-A, and this one is two micro USBs, and this is used to connect two keyboard halves to use in a wired mode. If you opt for the optional walnut palm rest, this is how it comes packaged. So you get the magnetic posts for tenting, right, so that it can match the keyboard itself, and the walnut rests themselves. You get the user guide with some tips and tricks, and both of the walnut rests are here. Additional stuff that I also received in the packaging is the Keycap and Switch removal replacement tool, which is really handy, of course. And this is the bag of the with the original switches, and the default switches that the keyboard comes with are the default Otamu brown switches. But what I asked for when they were configuring the keyboard to send me, this one is actually equipped with the Kali speed copper switches, which is I think additional cost of $30 US is the upgrade to get these. So yeah, I compared the feel, and I can compare the feel between them, and this is a completely subjective thing. So that's what I received in the packaging, yeah, in total. So let's check out what the NocFree Lite keyboard is. And as they say, a new type of life in your hands, split wireless mechanical keyboard. And when we actually get to the product page, you are starting to get the idea of just how many options and how customizable this product is. Everything is listed, and the price is for the keyboard itself $180 US, and everything else then comes on top, such as the palm rest, $20 US, $10 for the carrying case, $10 for the upgrade of acoustic additional dongles. It ships with one dongle, which is required for wireless communication, but if you want more dongles for different computers that you want to kind of work with, and it can work with 3 separate wireless channels, each of those will cost another $10. And then you also have the other options. So right off the bat, this is going to be a pricey option. Like, no matter what you choose, it's going to cost a lot. So let's see what other options do you have and what are the specifications. So first of all, we can customize keycaps, and you can have top print, side print, so it doesn't have to be on the top, just on the side print. They can be green, they can be gray, and you can have the Korean also there. Then you have the switches, and you can choose between tactile, linear, silent, and Kali speed copper. And also Gateron G Pro 2 white. So you got 5 different options here, and the price, of course, is updated normally. Then you have the options of no RGB or with RGB lighting. And then at the bottom you have further additions, such as the palm rest, acoustic foam upgradability for acoustics, and additional dongles, as we've said. So tons of ways to customize this keyboard to actually be your own, fully your own. And the main features of the keyboard are that it can function in both wireless or wired configuration. It has integrated tenting, which we will see, walnut palm rest as an add-on, customizable RGB lighting as an add-on, protective carrying case, which is an add-on as well, hot swappable keys, not an add-on, that works. It's fully programmable, so you can add multiple layers with different programs. You can really customize it to your own needs, and it's compatible with Mac, Linux, Windows, and I have tested it on the Android as well, and there it worked perfectly fine. So I'm assuming it's probably going to work on iOS as well, but I haven't personally tested it there. Then we have the switch options. Here you have the specifications of each of the different switch options that are available here. And keycap options, as we've seen, you have the top print, side print, Korean, and gray and green, which all cost a little bit extra. All right, so the one that I have here for testing, they are using Kali speed copper top print with RGB, with the palm rest, with the upgrade for the acoustics, and additional dongles, and a carry pouch, right? So if this is added to the cart, and then I go back to products, yes, and then I get a carrying case, add to a cart, right? And then I view my cart, and then I say, hey, but I want to use all 3 available channels for this for this configuration. Then the total comes to $289 plus taxes and shipping. So this is not a cheap option by any means, but this is a fully decked out option, right? So you can start from 180 bucks, and then if you want to fully deck it out, then you get to 290 bucks. So let's focus on the keyboard itself. And basically the whole point of the NocFree Lite keyboard is the modularity and this split keyboard design. So it's pretty cool that you still can use it as a single keyboard if that is what you want, and it really is something that's quite usable and quite okay, even though it doesn't have a latch. So you can't really just, I mean, you can lift it, but it's gonna easily kind of split. But for standing on the desk and using it like that, it is actually quite nice to use it in desk in this mode. And there's not too much flex in the middle, mainly because they do have the feet here, the rubber feet or the silicone feet, which are excellent anti-slip feet. So that is another thing that's really good. But the whole point of this keyboard is the fact that you can simply split it up and position it any way that you want. Now, as far as connectivity goes, you can connect it in 2 different modes. So if you are using a wired connection mode, then the procedure is that you first need to use the micro USB cable, and this one can be oriented either way. So you can use it like this, and then you can connect it to the other one, and then you can do whatever you want with this cable. However, since I do use the keyboard in the tenting mode, I found that it actually works better, for me at least, if I use the cable like this and like this, and then I lift the legs here and tuck the cable down there. Then I get to have a very, very nice kind of clean organization of cables without the cable actually running there, and the cable has a normal kind of a bend. So it's really nice that they included a right angle cable, and that it's made in such a way that you can configure it and use it any way that you prefer. It's important that you first connect the two halves. So that's your step number one. Then you use the other cable to connect it to the computer. So obviously USB-A goes to the computer, and the USB-C end goes into here, and then you plug it in, and that's your wired setup connection. If you're gonna opt for a wireless type of connection, there is no Bluetooth capability on this keyboard. So that's something that you need to know right off the bat. However, there is a wireless method, and the wireless method is via a wireless dongle, which you can plug in into your PC, your tablet, or something like that. And that's it. It just kind of works. It's a universal type of connection, so you don't require any specific drivers. And I've tried it on Windows, Mac, and Android, and it worked out of the box just fine. And the cool thing is that you do have a magnetic holder for it right there. So in that case, the process is you plug the wireless dongle into your device, and on the bottom of each half you have the wireless switch, which you would then switch to this side, and in this case to the other side where the wireless indication is, and then you're done. And in that mode, you can freely, position your keyboard halves wherever you want. However, the RGB functionality does not work in the wireless mode. So the RGB functionality of the NocFree Lite is available only in wired mode. Since the accent of the NocFree Lite is the ergonomic aspect, because the whole point is that you can split them in half so that you don't have to keep your hands together, so you can actually have a more relaxed type of typing experience, and also you can angle it any way that suits your writing or typing needs, so it's far more natural that you get that kind of straight angle while typing. Another thing that you also have is that you have a hinge system here, and it's a single angle, and it gives an angle of 7 degrees. So there is no double heights or anything like that. You just have the binary kind of thing, on off, and that tenting works basically like this. And the angle itself is really, really good for my needs, at least. I think that it's very good. The only thing is that when you lift them like this, then your wrists do go quite down. That is where the palm rests do come into play. However, before we get to the palm rests, there is another thing that I think that is missing on the NocFree, especially for the ergonomic type of from the ergonomic side of things. While this tenting is really good, and I do like it quite a bit, it's important, what we are lacking is the angle, negative angle down here. So basically, if I'm typing, especially if I'm typing in a different position, so for example standing or sitting up, so the flexibility of the keyboard is needed so that you can actually just easily flip it to different modes, so that I could, for example, lift it up and then have it basically to be able to type like this. Unfortunately, that's not something that you have in any capacity. So it's always either the downslope, like it's always a downslope like this, which is a normal one, but we are lacking the elevation type here, and the only thing that you have is the tenting at 7 degrees. Now the palm rests, I was initially a little bit confused. They are really lovely built. So let's get that out of the way. It's like two beautiful pieces of walnut, which are lovely to the touch. They're perfectly manufactured, super smooth, and they look beautiful. On the bottom, they have anti-slip pads all over the place, so they don't really slip around. They are sticking to the place, and you have these two magnets here which are used for a tenting option, which is something we'll discuss as well. However, there is no way to actually attach the palm rest to the keyboard itself. This is simply like everywhere where you see this presented, and even in other reviews, everybody will focus on presenting it basically photographed like this. And to me, that was the number one surprise, and basically like what's going on? Why? Where's the mechanism to connect these two? Mainly because you are now, if you're going to use a palm rest, you're no longer dealing with two pieces, you're dealing with 4 pieces of things that you need to carry around and that you need to also arrange on your desk and deal with. So that's something that I think is quite a bit of an omission, and this could have been done really simple, either via magnets basically holding on down to here. So that could have been a very simple thing, and if there is magnetic interference, there's nothing really stopping them from actually creating a small hinge system here that you could basically just pop it here and mechanically hold it in place, so that for the users that do choose to have it connected, that you have that option. But we don't. That's not something that you have. So if you're going to use a palm rest, then it's basically 2 pieces of wood that you need to manually position and keep track with the keyboard pieces as well. So that means that if I need to reposition this, then I need to reposition this and align and things like that. Not really the most elegant design solution that I've seen. And then we get to the tenting option that they went for the palm rest as well. So as we've seen on the keyboard itself, we have the hinge system with a lovely, again, anti-slip, probably silicone strip here, which is really good. So it's a very nice thing. It's part of the keyboard and it's a feature, right? With the palm rest, that's not the case. With the palm rest, you need to use these additional feet, which basically snap like this. However, and then they will give you the angle that you want for the tenting angle, right? So then the angle matches and hey ho, everything's honky-dory. However, there's a problem with this system. The first problem is obviously these are extra parts that you need to carry with you, and these are smaller parts that are going to become like really super easy to lose. So it's not an elegant solution, and it doesn't really make sense not to have the exact same type of hinge system here as well. I don't really understand why that was not the case here, but it's not. And the second problem with the magnets is that it's extremely easy to actually place the feet in the wrong orientation. So this is the wrong orientation. This is the correct orientation, right? Because that angle here will give you at the angle of 7 degrees, and then you have anti-slip pads here, to make sure that it actually stays flat on the desk and it doesn't slip around. However, I did it like countless times. When I just simply slapped this on, I would put it like this because I wasn't really paying attention. There's no color coding, there's nothing really. And then seemingly it would be okay, but it would start to slide all over the place, mainly because there's the elevation of the plastic here, which overpowers the anti-slip ones don't have a contact. This is where you have the contact, and then the whole thing slips around. So this again could have been solved by either color coding, or even better, via the magnetic orientation, so that the polarity of magnets is made in such a way that when you flip it again in the opposite direction, that it's not possible to actually put it in the wrong way, because the magnets would repel. And that would have been a very simple solution, because if you just go, it's like, oh, that's not that way, it's this way, and then you're done and you don't really have to think about it. But this way you really do have to pay attention which way you orient the legs for the palm rest in order to actually make it work the way it was intended to work. Once you do set up the palm rests and the orientation in the correct way, the support is actually really good. The angles are really good. It really does relax your wrists very nicely, and you can completely easily relax your wrists on these palm rests, and that does create a significantly easier typing experience. So they are absolutely a very useful part of the whole configuration. Now, another thing that I really liked as well, with the fact that they are not by default connected to the keyboard, is that I can actually reposition things where I like them, so that I get a resting spot for my wrists in a different location. So maybe this is something that I prefer for whatever reason, or maybe I like this kind of support so that this angle supports here, and then I support it like this. I really liked and enjoyed that level of freedom. So I do like the fact that you can have them separate. All that I'm saying is that it would have been nice to just have an elegant method of keeping them together as well. And of course, they should have mirrored the hinge system that was used on the keyboard. That's what should have been on the palm rests. However, if you do take these negatives into consideration and you kind of look into how they actually work, they really do work well. They feel good, and they are quite nice as palm rests. Now, not everything is honky-dory. The first impression for me, at least, was like, oh, this is really nice, because it's very nice, nicely made wood and everything like that. However, after an extended session and period of time of actually writing, there are two things that started to happen. Naturally, your skin will perspirate, so the wood will become fogged up or maybe wet a little bit, and when it does, then it becomes slippery. And once it becomes a little bit more slippery, because now when it's dry, it's fine, your wrists are totally okay. However, when they become a little bit more moist, then you do get a little bit of slipperiness on the armrests, which is not the case with the typical soft foam type of palm rests. The second part is that for extended sessions, this is wood, so this is a hard material, and over an extended period of time, you are resting and putting the majority of your weight basically on a hard material, and that's something that you will start to feel. I started to feel it, especially in this section where the bone is really close to the skin, and I would start to get that kind of fatigue, which is simply a reflection of the fact that while absolutely beautifully manufactured and beautiful to look at, this is a hard material, and as such there will be fatigue and it will become uncomfortable after a longer typing session. The build quality is really good on both elements. Let's first get the palm rest out of the way. It is absolutely faultless. There's nothing that I can fault in the manufacturing and the build quality of the palm rests. There are negatives about the concept and the design, yes, but the build quality, no. Everything feels and looks really beautiful and really well made. Similar thing follows with the keyboard halves as well. It's a beautiful design. This is plastic, but it's kind of weighty because it does have 1800 milliamp battery here and 1800 milliamp battery there. So together you have 3600 milliamp battery for this one, which gives you plenty of battery time. The manufacturing is really good. So the connections are nice and clean. The jacks are really good and good fitting. They hold the jacks really well. Even the mini USB here holds the jack really nice. So everything is properly made. The switches, the switch height is good, so it's easily accessible and it's nice and clicky. The anti-slip pads are really good. It's very easy to access the hinge without looking, and it just works properly. And the same thing can be said for, of course, the other half, but the joining system here, even though there's nothing really mechanical to hold it or something, it's a nice soft fit, so it doesn't really feel bad or anything, and it's a very precise fit, which is a good thing to see. Now, as far as the keycaps go, well, they feel good. They don't feel cheap, they feel normal, and they feel proper. And of course the keycaps or the switches, that also feels good. The additional thing that was added on this keyboard as well is the dampening foam as well, sound dampening foam, and that adds to the overall quality feel of the keyboard. So at any given point while I was using and interacting with this keyboard, it did not feel low quality or anything like that. There was really nothing that I could encounter that I would attribute to a subpar build quality. The only thing at the beginning, when I just gotten the keyboard, was that the left space would occasionally have a faint metallic squeak, but after just I don't know, couple of days of use, I guess the lubrication that was done, because these are manually lubricated switches, the lubrication kind of probably settled itself properly, and now that's gone, and I no longer have that kind of issue at all wherever I click on this one. So the sound of the switches is nice. If that's what you're looking for, that's how they sound. Removing the keycaps and changing the switches is really easy by using the supplied tool. So this side is used for removing the switches themselves. This side is spread apart, and then you basically spread it so that it goes on each side of the keycap and it slides underneath, and then you simply pull and it removes the keycap in a good and safe way. So the switches are normally sitting here. You fit it on top, kind of remove normally, and you will see that they are normal switches and the connections are normal. And here underneath, you can actually see the sound dampening foam, which is an add-on that you need to kind of order if you want, but that dampens the sound additionally, so it's there where that one actually lies. And once you're done, you basically just align the switch so that it's nicely placed. You press it in, and then you carefully align the keycap, press once, and you're done. So it's fairly standard and very easy, and I love the fact that you can very easily, very quickly hot swap the switches, test drive them, and see which types you prefer, etc. The whole process is super simple and smooth. As previously mentioned, the RGB lighting works only in wired mode. So you need to use again, first wiring both of the halves first, and then you hook it up to your system. And in this case, I'm hooked up to an Android tablet, and it's able to power it without any problems. So the way that you toggle the RGB mode on or off is the function tab, right? This is the indication that it's actually now charging from the tablet, which explains the battery drain on my tablet. But that's function tab is RGB mode on or off. And then you have a couple of commands that you can use to adjust your RGB, for RGB controls. So the first one is, all of them are with the function, of course. And the first combination is Q and E. So the function Q and then E will cycle through different modes. And I believe there's like something like 20, so I don't know, a lot of modes. So we can see like one mode. This is mode 2. We have one color here and then another color there. Then entire keyboard is in a single color. This one's kind of strange, I guess turned off. Then we have this one here. Another mode, very nice and colorful, and it changes over time. Again, colorful, changes over time. This one, single color, but pops them on and off. This one is pulsating on touch. So it originates from where you've typed, and then everything blinks if that's something that you're in for. This one is the same thing, but it's a multi-hued colored radial expansion, and it just expands from the key that you've pressed. So that kind of gradient effect. Then we have another one, which I guess is a little bit faster. Okay. Then we have another one, which is less. So this one is like an X. So it goes bomb, bomb, vertical and horizontal. Yeah, vertical and horizontal from what was typed. Actually, pretty cool. I liked it. This one is simply radial around which one was typed. This one is the same, so you have constant lighting, but you have individual keys that have been typed are lighting up and going through a hue of different colors. Then we have a very cool one which basically only illuminates single keys after they have been typed. I really like this. Then you have this, which basically just does the whole thing. So this is almost like a demo. It doesn't really react to key presses or anything. This is just what it does. Then we have another one, which almost like a cumulative, because more I'm starting to press, more it you can overpower it. So this is almost like a game. So it's like cold, cold, warmer, warmer, warmer. All right, then the next one is again just a mode, pulsating mode, doesn't react to presses. Maybe, no, it doesn't. Multicolored mode, another multicolored mode. Ooh, rotating around here, rotating in another direction. Okay, the same thing, different hues, spiral. So this is not a radial spiral rotating of colors. Another one, different speed. This one is pulsating inwards, which is kind of cool. Again, except that this one is pulsating only on a single. The other one looked like it was two radials. This is going to the side, like a wave to the side, a wave down. Again, wave to the side. Whole thing pulsating, radial going around, going around. This is just, yeah, matrix glitchy kind of thing with good caps here. Okay, so turning on and off, that's kind of cool. And finally, we're back to where we started. So this is basically the one that I used when we started. So those are all of your RGB color modes. Plenty to choose from, plenty to play with. Now, for all of them, you can use function A and D to change the color hues. Now, the color hue change is global. and it's not stored per mode. It would have been nice if it was possible to actually store it per mode, but that's not something that you can do. So you can just go through this, and then and another thing that would have been nice also is like a repeatable key. So if it's like pressed, that you can go through this, but you can't. You have to manually cycle through the whole thing. And finally, you can adjust the brightness, and that's the W and S. So this is the maximum brightness, and you can have, let's see how many steps of brightness. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it's still illuminated, and now it's fully off. All right, so very, very good control with the lighting intensity. So for any kind of situation, you do have the options there. Naturally, the brighter it is, more power it will consume, which matters if you are hooking it up to a laptop or to or a tablet, or basically devices that are going to power the keyboard via their own battery source. So all of this is nice. I only have 2 remarks as far as the RGB controls go, and the first one I already said. It would have been nice if the color mode or the color hue is stored on a per mode basis, or at least that there was like a combination that we can switch between that, because I would like to actually have certain color scheme for one mode and another color scheme for another mode, etc. So this is a minor thing, but the other one is a little bit bigger, and that is that in all of the color modes, there isn't a color mode that is just pure white on all of the keys, to basically have just a normal illuminated keyboard. And these are able to actually produce whites, because I've seen in some color modes, there we go, this one is basically it. And what does it do? So you can change your color modes for certain ones, I guess. Nope, color mode changes don't work here, but you do have white. They are able to actually do the white thing, but you are unable to use that on as a general color, right? And that would have been a nice thing to see. So that's something that I am genuinely missing, because not everything has to be this kind of super intense crazy color. Maybe sometimes you would like just a plain white color. Other than that, everything else is really, really good. The color bleed under different angles doesn't really distract me too much, and the focus is on the keycaps themselves, and the keycaps are done in a really precise way, so every key is very, very well readable, and the bounced light and the ambience light is really good. So basically you can read the layer 1 functionality on the sides of the keycaps quite easily. There's only a handful of shortcuts that you need to be aware of. So the first one we've covered, function and tab, that's for RGB functionality on and off. Another one is to switch between different channels. And this device can connect up to 3 different devices, or 3 different dongles. So it does have 3 separate channels. And the way that you actually switch between the channels is basically you press to switch to channel 1, you press tab 1 on the left side, on the left half, and on the right half you press the backslash or forward slash and 0, right? So this is channel 1, and you have to actually tell each half to switch to a different channel. So this is telling the left half switch to channel 1, tab and number here, and then equivalent of a tab here and 0. So you start from 0, and then you basically just move forward. So in order to switch to channel 2, that's tab and 2 on the left hand side. On the right hand side it is this and minus, and then tab 3 for channel 3, and this and plus channel 3. So this is basically switching to, this is your activating for switching to a channel, and this is where you identify which channel, 1, 2 or 3. Additionally, you have the layer 1 of default keys. However, there is a negative here that not all of the functionalities are actually mapped on the keys. And probably some of you have noticed that I have basically printed out and stuck here some labels so that they can help me with getting used to where the second layer is. So the printed layers here are really nice. So you have there, so like on any other keyboard, function 1 2 3 4 blah 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 blah, all of that works. But the ones that are not printed and the ones that I was actually lacking and I use all the time are function shift is insert, function backslash is delete, and then the arrow keys function is page up, page down, home, and end. Very forward and very normal, but I think that it's yeah, basically it's a miss here that not all of the layer 1 functionalities are printed on keycaps, and another thing is that not all of the layer 1 functionalities are displayed or printed in the manual as well. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, that if you're looking for insert tab, page up, page down, home, and end, they are here, but yeah, they are mapped like this. So insert, delete, page up, page down, home, and end. As far as the latency goes and the difference between a wireless and wired latency, I was actually surprised by the results that I've seen and measured, and so much so that I had to repeat it many times, but the results are very consistent. And the results are that the latency in wireless mode is actually considerably and consistently faster or lower than it is in wired mode. I'm not really sure why that is, but I've repeated the test like tapping 10 times and measuring 10 times, and it's very consistent between each of them in wired and wireless mode, and the difference between the two is really consistent. So in a wireless mode, we are getting somewhat consistency latency of around 50 milliseconds, and when we get to the wireless, it's around 31, 32 kind of milliseconds, varying very little. The bulk of the difference between the latency of wired and wireless mode is very consistent. So there you go. That's definitely not something that I expected to see, but here it is. Now you also can have a carry pouch for the NocFree Lite keyboard, which is conveniently 2 halves that then can kind of flip back here. Now originally they are intended only for the halves, but you can squeeze in the palm rest as well, because this is a stretchy material and there is an easy way to actually make that all fit. There's also a pocket on the front here, so this is basically where your cables go. So first I'm gonna just put the first half in here, slides very nicely, put the fit in, slides it there, and this is your normal kind of thing, how it would go without the palm rest. So it pulls like this, and it's really kind of cool. However, it is actually possible to get the palm rests in there. Of course, you need to take the dreaded feet out, and when you are there, you just need to simply find where the so where the keyboard is thinning, put the thicker half orientation down here, and when you actually put it like this next to the thicker half, you have the room to put the foot in there. And actually you don't have to squeeze anything, you don't have to do anything unnatural to the to the whole thing. So here again, thin to thicker, and that gives me room for this one to slide in, and there we go. So now I have both halves, both the palm rest and the cable, all in this pouch. And while it is weighty, it is something that you can chuck back in your backpack, and yeah, it takes up space. It's not super portable, but it is portable, and it is something that you can do. So it's the conclusion time for the NocFree Lite split keyboard. And as usual, as I do in my reviews, I'm going to start with the cons. And the number one con for me would be that it does not have Bluetooth option for wireless connectivity. I don't mind using a dongle, but inclusion of a Bluetooth protocol would have also been very welcome, especially at the price range that you have for this keyboard, because it's not cheap. So you have to use a dedicated dongle per device, and that also means that you have to actually purchase additional dongles if you want to use this keyboard on more than one device. And it also means that if you go somewhere and you just want to hook the keyboard up to another device and you don't have the dongle with you for some reason, then you are kind of stuck in, or you have to use the wired mode. Keyboard angle controls are limited, so while this stenting control here is really good, what I am absolutely missing is the ability to have the angle here. And oddly, the manual is saying like, oh, you can achieve this angle by putting the halves on the palm rest, but that is just like no. Palm rest angle control is equally limited because it only has that lifting as well, and it doesn't have any other types of controls. The palm rest cannot be attached to the keyboard. The palm rests are using these magnetic height posts, which just simply doesn't make sense, especially because we do have the hinge system on the keyboard halves. And to make it even more of a hassle, these magnetic height posts can be oriented in a wrong way, giving you suboptimal results when using it that way. So it's a very easy mistake to make, and it's something that can happen quite often. Plus, this is an extra complication, extra part to carry or potentially lose. The palm rest material, while again, as I said, it certainly is gorgeous and beautifully manufactured. It is, and it feels beautiful under the hand. However, when you are actually using it as a palm rest after an extended period of time, the hardness of the material for extended use cases, especially this bone here, it will start to actually you will start to feel it because it's walnut, it's hard. And for me, this is a case of form over function. And for a product with an ergonomic accent, I think that this doesn't hit the mark. Another thing is that not all layer 1 functionalities are included or printed on the keycaps or in the user manual. So specifically insert, delete, page up, page down, home, and end. RGB, while certainly capable of producing a white color, we don't have the option of choosing a white color in all of these options, so that's something that's lacking. And the fact that the RGB color is global rather on a per RGB mode level. And finally, it's the price. So while I certainly appreciate the ability to actually really fine-tune and order exactly what you want, it does amount to a lot. So this is a considerable investment. And now on to the pros. The split design. So I absolutely have to focus on the split design, and the split design basically offers a new level of freedom and convenience, especially in the wireless mode. So this, I can't put a strong enough accent on how big and important of a pro this whole thing is. It really is a big change when you're coming from traditional keyboards. And I've tried other split keyboards as well, but normally all the other split keyboards are super ergonomic ones, and then you have to relearn things. There's no relearning needed in this one. You basically just continue using it as you would, but you have the added convenience of fine-tuning it and placing it exactly where you want and how you want, depending on the situation, depending on your needs, depending on what you want and how you want it. And that really does make quite a bit of a difference. So while it is just one pro, it should count as 10 like, or something like that, because it really is a big pro. Excellent quality all around, discreet, beautiful and modern design of the keyboard with some kind of nudges towards a classic kind of thing, but it just feels really good. Excellent stability when typing. So it really is a very good way of typing. And even like when you're like hitting the outer corners unless you're doing like something super extreme, like the keyboard will just remain really perfectly solid. And you have to keep in mind that this is a soft material here, so it will move around there. But when it's on a normal regular desk or a mouse pad, then it's like super rock solid. There's no sliding whatsoever, and that's a really, really good thing to see. Excellent typing comfort and feel, and the familiar layout really does help. So it really is a very seemingly simple concept of simply splitting what your hands already know and are familiar with, and just placing them from the uncomfortable position into a more natural position that is something that you like. And then again, you don't have to relearn anything. You simply are giving your hands and arms and fingers a bit of an easier time to actually use this. Hot swappable switches and keycaps. The pouch, yeah, it actually is able to accommodate everything with a bit of a squeeze, but you can do it. And the customizability when ordering, it allows you to basically pick and choose exactly what you want and what you don't want, so that you don't have to pay for too many things that you don't want or are not going to use. And that extensive level of customizability when ordering is a really, really significant pro as well. So how to summarize the NocFree Lite keyboard? Well, I think that in essence the core of it is really, really excellent, and as a concept the splittable nature of it just simply works because it has been executed well. Yes, there are ergonomic limitations. Absolutely, you have to be aware of them, because for some work environments and some work situations, the absence of vertical tilting or the limitations of the ergonomics setups that this product offers, they can well be a very valid deal breaker. But if you don't fall into that category and this actually suits your work environment, work style and everything like that, and it's something that you can accommodate to, then you are in for a treat, because this really does feel incredible. And especially in the wireless mode, the new thing that actually happened is that I can place a device that is also a screen, like an e-ink tablet or something, in between the two halves and start typing while looking there, and that is a fully new type of an experience for me, and that's something that's really, really cool. And then I actually tried it with a portable screen as well, put it in a portrait mode in between the two keyboard halves, and then start typing, and then it is properly something new. This is of course by no means the only split keyboard design that's out there, but it is one of the few that actually offers you the ease of use, because it's the familiar layout and the extra functionalities and comfort levels of a split keyboard. And from that standpoint, I think that it's a very, very interesting and yeah, an important product to take into consideration. So is it perfect? Absolutely not. It has plenty of flaws and some that could have easily been avoided, so that's unfortunate to see. But even as it is, as such, it is something that definitely I am gravitating towards using more and more and more, simply because of the freedom that this allows and the comfort level as well, because the typing is really nice and it just feels good. It's something that's satisfying to use. I hope that you found the video helpful, informative and or useful. If you did, please like and subscribe to the My Deep Guide channel and ding the notification bell to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!